We discuss the transaction analysis. Transaction analysis, in that we discuss what are the different state of transaction. What is a transaction? When you are talking to each other, when you are giving a message to one person to another person, that is a transaction. When you are delivering a communication and other person is receiving, that is a transaction. And that transaction we are delivering in different mindset, different states. So we discuss what is parent state, adult state, child state. There are different types of transaction, and this theory is developed by Eric Berne in 1950. With that different state, when your transaction is, there are different types of transaction. When a person is talking in a similar state, when a person is talking in a different state, and a person is talking in a different meaning. So we have complementary transaction, that is parallel state, cross transaction, that is non-complementary communication, ulterior transaction, that is the different meaning of communication. We discuss all these things. Then we have a different topic, which is conflict management. How you are managing the conflict between the organization. And also we have organizational dynamics. This is we discussed with when we studied the team dynamics, the group dynamics. In any organization, any office, any industry, you have people, people have groups, and how they talk each other, that is the main meaning of dynamics. Organizational dynamics means what? How people interact each other, how people behave. In any organization, you will have different people from different diversity, different location, different culture, how they talk each other, how they communicate each other, and that communication, how it is impacting on the organization, how it is affecting the organization. That is organizational dynamics. It is a part of social psychology. It is one branch of social psychology to understand people's behavior, mindset, how they interact each other. There are different elements, effective planning, needs the management to define the direction. The second element of organization dynamics is the goal execution. It is one elements how people have a target and goal and how they plan it. There is another element is leadership. There are team members who has shown the leadership, who will be the front runners of any activity. There is another element of control. If you are working on resource, resource means it could be manpower, it could be finance, it could be raw material. So how you are controlling and managing that, that is also one element of dynamic organization. So organizational dynamic means there are different activity what you do in organization with resource, with people, with team in different departments. These things we studied with team, team organization dynamic, team dynamic, group dynamic. There is one example given here, the moving car. In spite of giving so many hurdles, so many stoppages. The car is moving with a great momentum, great speed. The car has a large mass because it has power. So that power is there with the team, with the group. So which is invisible. You cannot see that. But the group is having its own momentum, own power to move forward. That is called organizational dynamics. We also studied the conflict, the level of conflict, how different conflict arises, interpersonal conflict, intrapersonal conflict, intragroup conflict, intergroup conflict, intragroup conflict, intergroup conflict. So there are people working in the organization, so each one is talking to each other in different context. So there is a possibility that people will have conflict between them. If you have a problem with another person, that is your conflict, personal conflict. Intrapersonal in this level refers to an internal dispute and involves only one individual. This conflict arises out of your own thoughts, emotions, ideas, values. That means this is not impacting with anyone. You are thinking something, you are assuming something, you have a different perception. So it is impacting you within you, intrapersonal. Interpersonal means between two person. Similarly, intragroup and intergroup. Intergroup is within that group, intergroup is between two groups. So when the conflict arises between this situation, there are different mechanisms to solve the conflict, to resolve the conflict. We'll study that, we'll analyze that theory. There are different theories to resolve the conflict and different mechanism to prioritize the conflict, to give importance to the conflict. Based on that, you will act on that. You will see what is required, what is not required. So in the high level, we understand there are four types of conflict: intrapersonal, interpersonal, intragroup, and intergroup. There are different types and grouped within four types. Then we'll see how we can manage the conflict, how we can deal with all the conflict. You have seen sometimes there are conflict we simply ignore, there are conflict we accommodate, there are conflict we resolve, we work on that, we give time for that. There are conflict is we simply lived on the team. So based on the priority and depth and intensity of the conflict, we plot them in different sections, different groups. Then based on that, we act on that. We'll understand how we'll divide the conflict and how we'll prioritize the conflict in the next slide. See this diagram. In one side we have given goal and one side we have given relationship. So conflict is occurring between two parties, two person, two groups, two team. And why it is happening? It is happening for some work, some goals. And we are measuring those from low to high goals and relationship. If you are seeing there are five box, five quadrant, five area in that graph. First area is when the relationship is low and the goal is low. That means it's not important. You are simply avoiding. If the relationship is high, your goal is low. It means you are accommodating. If the relationship is moderate and the goal is moderate, then compromising. If the goal is high but the relationship low, it is competing. And if both high, then it is collaborating. So if you see this graph, this is how we are prioritizing the conflict. There are different conflicts. Which one we have to avoid, which one you have to accommodate, which one you have to compromise. Based on that, there are different conflict placed under different areas. So I'm not reading detail what is written in the slide. You can see that. I'll share that. You can see each of this. I'm not reading it. But once you see the graph, you can understand how we are plotting, prioritizing the different conflict, and based on that, you will act on the management. There are different management style, how we are managing conflict. You are seeing clearly there are five style. What are these? Each style will understand avoiding, accommodating, compromising, competing, collaborating. In the workplace, two or more persons interact. Conflict occurs when opinion with respect to any task or decisions are contradictions. Suppose you are talking to your colleague and you are contradicting in your goal or what you are working, what your colleague working. So there is a contradiction, there is a debate happening between you both. That is nothing but a conflict. Conflict, example of organizational conflict occurs when workers advocate for higher pay and the business and serve the management wants. So that type of conflict can happen with anyone. So the example we gave for related to work within your colleague, it can happen with your management, it can happen with your subordinate, it can happen with your co-workers. So with anyone, that conflict can happen. So that conflict you can manage and resolve based on the priority, based on the situation, based on the depth of the issue. Avoiding style of conflict resolution is one where when one has low concern of his or ultimate goal and low concern of his relations. So avoiding is very low. So we are not concerned about achieving the goal and relationship is not going to happen. So in that case, you can simply ignore, you can simply avoid. There are small conflicts which you think if you don't resolve also there is no problem. But it's not going to impact anything. So you'll simply avoid. Sometimes accommodate the accommodating style of conflict resolution where party focuses on the needs of others and not the importance of the goal. So relationship is important and goal is not important. So it is not impacting the profitability, the distribution, the production, the company's activities, but it is impacting the relationship. You are having conflict with others. So what you will do, you will simply accommodate and you will see your pride based on that, you will work on that. Competing style. Competing style is when there are two party has has conflict and pushing each other. That everyone has a problem. For example, there are conflict between party A and party 2. Party A is looking to resolve it soon. Party B is also looking to resolve it. They are competing each other to resolve that. Compromising is where equally important. So it has impact on the goal, it has impact on the relationship. So you and both the party they want to compromise, they want to resolve it. So by talking each other, that is compromising. So it has moderate concern with goals and relationship. Another style is collaborating style. Collaborating is both are high, so it is impacting the profitability, also it is impacting the goal. So in that case, the manager will collaborate both the conflicting party and resolve the issues. So you have to collaborate, you have to coordinate each other to resolve that. Where where they have both the relationship and goals, both are impacting, that is collaborating style. So we have total 5 different styles of conflict management. Avoiding, accommodating, competing, compromising, and collaborating. There are 5 different styles of conflict management. There are 2 different approaches of conflict, traditional approach, modern approach. So in broadly, traditional approach says that conflict is something we cannot avoid. It will be there. And we should work on that. We should eliminate it. We should manage it. Traditional approach consists conflicts are destructive to an organization. It is modern approach says we should manage the conflict, the level of conflict we should manage. It is inevitable. In modern approaches, we can remove the conflict. We can have a zero conflict environment where the modern approach says we cannot have a zero conflict environment. If people are there, there will be conflict, there will be discussion, there will be issues. So there are different between traditional approach and modern approach, and these differences are given in different section, definition wise, nature wise, wise, consequences, tasks, performance. So what traditional approach says, what modern approach says, there are two different things, different approach on conflict management. We'll also read the functional conflict and diffusion conflict. There are two different things, functional and diffusional. We have differences. We have summarized that the slide. One can read and see the difference between functional and diffusional. There is another concept, organizational development. Organizational development is there in the syllabus, and we'll read all these things in one class. Maybe maximum one or two class will end the syllabus. End this chapter. This conflict management is something important. To read this, there are conflict managing styles. This is important. Avoiding style, accommodating style, competing style, compromising and collaborating style. This may appear as one question. Question can come, what are the different mechanisms to manage the conflict? Or sometimes there will be situation, there will be conflict. So what you do, which method you will apply based on that, based on the impact, you will analyze. In that type, you will not having any right answer or wrong answer. You have to give this analysis and give your thought. Why you think avoiding, you think accommodating, which conflict mechanism is suitable for that situation. That type of question sometimes comes. You have to study the situation, you have to analyze the situation, and if you remember this five types, you can note it. This is one important thing, avoiding, accommodating, competing, compromising, collaborating. In the next class, we'll study the organizational development OD. So in that, we'll understand more on how organization is functioning, what are the different characteristics of organization. Then we'll close the syllabus in one class, one or two class maximum. Let me open your syllabus. Yeah, this is the last unit. We'll, we'll understand the organizational development in the last unit. Last unit is mainly conflict and organizational development. We'll study in the next class. Another two class will close this. Thank you.